Hey everyone! So I wanted to, like I said, I was going to do another little video on OHSS. Getting OHSS, Ovarian Hyperstimulation Syndrome, it's rare to have. And so I'm thinking, okay, PCOS is rare to have. It's like 5% of women in the world have it. So high five, ladies, we're one of those 5%. But then out of that 5%, only about like 3% of them get OHSS. And they have different cases, mild, moderate, and severe. And so our doctor's like, the very worst case, you're going in the hospital, and it can get bad enough where you're in the ICU. So we were concerned for that. Like I said, I did go to work the very next day. I was just moving so slow. My abdomen was completely distended. I mean, I looked like I was a couple months pregnant. Like, that's how distended I looked. Some of the symptoms of OHSS. I was having the symptoms. I was in like lots of pain. I was feeling nauseated. I was like throwing up. I couldn't eat. But I was thinking, like, you know what? If this is just part of the reactions of after the egg retrieval. This is just what's happening. And so I was thinking, I'm going to do this. Like, this, we want our babies. This is something that we really want and that we've been wanting for a long time. And I thought, if this is what it takes to bring our babies here, then I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to, like, buckle down, grit my teeth, and just push forward and do that. So, and like I said earlier, our doctor, he's really good. He called me every single day. I mean, he gave us his personal cell phone number in case we needed him. He said call him at any time to let him know what's going on. Our egg retrieval was on Sunday. I still wasn't feeling good Monday, but I was going to work. And then Tuesday, like I mentioned earlier, I had to leave work early. I probably should have gone to the hospital that day, but I'm like, I don't know, I'm feeling bad. I'm having all these symptoms. This is what I should be expecting to be feeling. And then when we went into the doctor on Thursday, because they just wanted to do blood work because they're really, really concerned, it was bad. I couldn't even walk by myself. Every single step hurt, like intense pain with every single step. I mean, even just like breathing hurt. Because then not only did my lower abdomen start getting distended, it was like my entire abdominal area. So pretty much what was happening is, yay, like, so awesome, we got these 40 eggs out, but now we have these 40 empty follicles that are all filling up with fluid. So it's like, pretty much, I don't know, my body thought I was having 40 babies, is what was going on. So, like, which is crazy, like, crazy. So my body was then taking all of the fluid from my blood, just from everywhere, and bringing it and rushing it all towards my abdominal area. So we went in, like I said, we went into the ER. They couldn't, I could barely walk. Dustin was helping me walk to get into the ER. And they couldn't even get like a blood pressure reading on me. And so they were like, I remember like nurses were kind of like freaking out about that a little bit. And then my temperature was like going all off. It was like they couldn't get an accurate reading on that. And they're like, no, there's no way that your temperature could be like that low with this and that. And they just couldn't get a pulse. And so they just like rushed me into a room right away, and they're doing all these tests. And they were like trying to get some blood out to do some tests. They put heat packs on. They're like pushing and pushing down on my arm to try and get just the blood out with them. I mean, and it hurt. Like, and what happened is my veins and arteries, they were deflated. So because my body was taking all of the water out of my veins, arteries, out of my blood, so they couldn't get the needles inside. I mean, one arm, the nurse was like just digging around for it. I was in the same hospital as my fertility doctor, and so he was actually really good and checking in on me. He came in every single day. They had me on morphine for the first 3 days just because of how much pain I was in. It took like 4 or 5 IV bags just to get my blood like back to normal. But then what my body kept on doing is it kept on taking all of that all of the fluid from my blood and just bringing it all, rushing it to my abdominal region. And so my electrolyte, I mean, like everything was like off the charts, all over the place. By Friday, I was in such discomfort. I feel like I'm not even doing it justice. I could barely breathe. It was pushing, the fluid was pushing up on my abdomen. I couldn't talk for like more than 5 minutes. I was just in so much pain. I wasn't really lucid at all. They ended up doing a paracentesis, which is pretty much, it's like they cut me, they stick a straw in me and drain the fluid out of my abdomen. And so I remember they give you just like a light sedation for that, but because I was in like so much pain in the light sedation, it knocked me out. And so I remember them waking me up. It was like halfway through, and they're like, Karen, we'll have to turn you over to get more fluid out. They got 2.7 liters out of my abdomen that they drained. And I was like conscious enough, and I'm like, oh, because I'm curious about all this body stuff. And so I wanted to see what it looked like. And it was like, I don't know, watered down cranberry juice would be the best way of doing it. They showed me this like big old huge tub, and just looked like watered down cranberry juice. So there's obviously blood in there. And so they turned me over and drained more, and they ended up getting 3.3 liters of fluid out of my abdomen, which was just crazy. And I felt so much better. I was like, woohoo, this is like nice. Like, I was still feeling like crap, but from what I was like feeling beforehand, which is having all of that relief like gone, was amazing. And so, but they told me, they're like, Karen, they told me this before the procedure and everything, that this is just a temporary fix. It's nothing that is going to be long-term lasting effects. So by the next day, it literally all came back. All of it. Something else when you go on a part of OHSS is you need to make sure they give you like laxatives because you're like totally plugged up, everything like that. I ended up gaining, so like normally I'm like 115. Okay, when I went into the hospital, I was 116.95 pounds. And so what we ended up doing is, even a couple days before I went to the hospital, I was like measuring my abdomen, my upper abdomen, my lower abdomen, and just seeing like how much it like was distended. Before I went into the hospital, I was distended like at least an inch in my abdominal regions. My mom and we would like measure me, and like I was tracking my weight because I kept on gaining. I had a ton of fluid retention. So this is what happened. I went from, my normal weight is 115, and which that is what I was the day of the egg retrieval. I got up to 136.8. 136.8. And so that was, what, 5 days after I was in the hospital. And so, I mean, and everything else kept on increasing. My upper abdominal area, I mean, I gained, it was like 3 inches up there, 5 inches in my lower abdominal area. I started having like a little bit of fluid going in my lungs. And so they wanted me to sit up to push the fluid down a little bit more. I mean, and then it went into my lower pelvis region and my legs, and my legs got so big I couldn't even like bend my leg. I thought, oh my gosh, this is like terrible. But, and there's third spacing, which I'm not even going to get into third spacing. You can look up third spacing. That's like totally graphic. Not even going to get into that. But there's like so many more things that were going on in the hospital. And I couldn't eat anything. I was on a full liquid-only diet. And so the dietitians at the hospital were really worried about me losing weight and coming in. I was in the hospital for 9 days. My doctor said, you're going to turn a corner. You're going to turn a corner. And so finally, what ended up happening is one day, they kept track of like how much you like pee. You have to pee in this like little hat cup thing. And so the one day I peed 5 liters in 24 hours. Then the next day I peed 8 liters in one day. And then, so it's literally, within a day and a half, I lost 10 pounds of just fluid water. And so at that point, they're like, okay, you can go home now. You don't have to be here in the hospital anymore. So that's kind of like in short what it was. There's still just a lot more that was going on, but hopefully, I really hope and pray that if you have a PCOS, that you don't have to go through anything like that. They said that my case of OHSS was severe. It's like mild, moderate, and severe. So I hope that you don't have to go through that. And if you see any of those signs, go to the hospital earlier, so then maybe you can like catch it earlier or prevent it, or I don't know with that. So that's about that and what was in the hospital. It still took me a while afterwards to finally get back to normal. I ended up losing like 4.5 pounds below my original body weight. Finally, it was like a couple weeks afterwards. Still waking up like every 2-3 hours just because I was in like so much pain. And they finally, after I started, like, they call it diuresing, like you're peeing it all out. Diuresing so much, I'd literally wake up in the middle of the night like drenched. Like I wasn't sweaty, but it was just like my body was like secreting out everything. So I'd literally wake up in the middle of the night and I would like have to like change my pajamas and things like that. So just so heads up on things that can happen with that, and that's it. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.